The Democratic Party that we once knew is no longer living. You know, the party of JFK and Franklin D. Roosevelt. Instead, it was taken over by purely progressive politicians and used to garner a social media following and sell out their positions of power for thousands of dollars. People like Joe Biden and AOC are the biggest examples of this. While selling out, the Democratic Party members that were once respected are now instead used as pawns to push a particular ideology. The same exact ideology that has a stronghold on our universities, the biggest companies throughout the country, which coincidentally had been proven to make the lives of the people who live within them and work within them worse. Take for example New York, Massachusetts, and California. The people who live within these states constantly sign up and vote for the same exact policies that make their major cities unlivable. Not just the major cities, but the state as a whole unlivable.
We've seen this situation spiral out of control during the past 5 years. It's a complex problem and the city's plan isn't working.
Caitlin Agresti takes a difficult and almost unbearable journey back to the street she called home for 7 years. Known as Methadone Mile, near Atkinson Street, people shooting up, cooking drugs, and living in tents.
They could sell you all kinds of things like meth, crack, like Johnny, which could be Oxycontin, Xanny.
In the past month alone, there have been 16 stabbings and 2 shootings.
Look at Boston, for example. The people who live there hold the same values as the people who live in Martha's Vineyard. But just for the poops and giggles of it, let's take a look at the people that live there. Of course, if these policies that your elected representatives pass cause this very mess, voting them out would fix the problem, wouldn't you think? Yes, that's what the normal person would think. But the people that live within these states and cities are hooligans that vote in the people that bring the clown show with them to the state houses. Take for instance in Fall River, where they elected a mayor that charged businesses money for a license to sell weed and then pocketed the money tax-free. He also started a crowdfunding campaign for a business but then never got around to doing it, so he pocketed the money once again. After all of this, he was recalled and then arrested. Fall River held an election to find a new mayor. I kid you not, he won again. That's the stupidity of the people that live within the cities and make up Massachusetts. It's sad but true that the common sense that we've all shared is no longer common. As the saying goes, common sense isn't common. And you can see that at shop.araudiostudios.com. Use code NEWYEAR for 15% off. There's free shipping throughout America. We all know this to be self-evident, but it is constantly ignored by the left and the Democrats. Why might this be? This is because they pass this very policy themselves, and they need to have the people that live there think that they are just doing successful things for them within the country. This is so that they can yet again push one of their policies down our throats. They want to do as many policies as they can without people realizing the failures that they cause. This is why they ignore the side effects of their ideologies entirely, and then they would like to just pretend as though everything is fine. Kinda like Joe Biden. So, let's take a look at these major Democratic cities, run down, homeless, fluttered, pathetic shells of what they used to be. These were once great, powerful cities that people from all around the world wanted to travel to. Some of these cities are where America was known for and was founded. Take for example New York, which is home of Times Square, an area the whole entire world sees on New Year's Eve. Or look at California, home to San Francisco, in LA, where most of major movies are filmed. How about Massachusetts, home of Plymouth Rock, where the Pilgrims first came and discovered America? All of these places used to be where people from all around the world wanted to go to further their careers or to make a name for themselves, but not now. Not anytime soon if they keep this up. Instead of fixing the problems they have, they release programs that do anything but fix the problem at hand. These programs spend millions of our tax money, and they do absolutely nothing at the end of the day. Which policy am I talking about here? Let's start in California, where they decided to try out this thing called universal basic income. Instead of giving some money to the people that paid into this very system, they're going to give it to the people that don't have a job and don't have a house, aka hobos. I mean, who better to pilot the program than hobos anyway? So they sought out a couple of people that lost their homes due to disappearances that arose from them simply leaving their house. You know, the typical scenario where you just walk out of your house and you're about to enter your car, but then you realize that you forgot your keys. You go back to your house to find that the house is now gone. You know, this situation happens all the time. They went up to those very people that did nothing wrong in life to get them exactly where they are now and gave them $750 per month for a year to see how it would turn out. Believe it or not, it didn't end well. They did this for 6 months and they released their their half of the year results. According to Business Insider, which sees this as a good thing by the way, says that they spend, quote, 20% on housing, 12.7% on transportation, 11.5% on clothing, like this one right here, available at Shop.Rojo Studios, 15% off, code New Year, 6.2% healthcare, and 13.6% on other expenses that were, quote, not classified. Now, I'm not that good at math, but that only equals to 64%. Where's the other 36%, you may ask? Also, is this the best that they could do? They act like we're done. If it says no questions asked, $750 per month, and then they go and ask them what they spent their money on, do you really expect them to just say they spent it on drugs right off the bat? We can only go off the data that we have in front of us, which means that the other 36%, you know, the quote-unquote unclassified amount, and we need to add that to the 36% that was missing, and now we get 49.9% or close enough to 50% on miscellaneous or other goods, which means that these people are spending $375 of our tax money on God knows what every single month. More than likely it's going to be drugs. How nice, right? And this very business article is the same one that says this is an example of the program working. How fun is it to see our tax money put to work? The government bends you over so then this random hobo can go and buy drugs for himself. I'm sorry, 50% of it on drugs. Wow. So not that much, right? These same cities are the ones that are known to be home to some of the highest priced homes in America. And that is for little to no return on the big purchase price that you paid. This is because public schools are failing, sense of community has disappeared, drug crimes are rampant, and our government does not care. The roads are full of trash and hobos, our inner cities smell like straight up weed, but that's only the beginning. If you own a business in these major cities, you have to expect that your business is going to get broken into and people will steal everything in sight. This is because of yet another policy that the Democrats passed, which means that criminals are not behind bars and instead out in the open, causing harm to everyone around them. Look at Saks Off and Fifth, Old Navy, Anthropologie, Amazon Go, Whole Foods, Office Depot, Nordstrom, H&M, The Real, CB2, Banana Republic, Athletico, The Container Store, Free and Barrow, and The Uniqlo. They all left San Francisco because of the crime that was happening and the looting that they were facing. And to put a cherry on top, one of San Francisco's largest hotels, the Hilton San Francisco, which takes up an entire city block, is now being abandoned. One of the CEOs of the companies moving out of San Francisco is DiMario, and he says that we need to, quote, warn voters what will happen if their city embraces the same policies that led to San Francisco's decline. Most people with a brain realize the harsh reality, but some of them have to encounter this firsthand to realize this obvious fact. It's sad but true that someone could be robbed every single day, encounter needles on the street, and walk into homeless people on the sidewalk, leaving no room for citizens to take a walk, or stroll the sidewalks with their children. All of this at the same exact time, making it more dangerous for the single woman to be walking around alone at night. Still, doesn't even matter because the Democrats are so invested in their policies to ever admit that they are wrong. They even pass more laws saying that hobos can indeed be on the sidewalk. But even if one Democrat steps out of line and admits that they were wrong, they would be canceled and they would most likely vote the same exact person into office again at the polls. But sadly, that's not the majority of people. Instead, people can't even think for themselves because they don't even have access to the truth, because the media refuses to tell the people who rely on them for their info. But that brings us to the next major problem that America is facing. Click here to watch it now, or click the link down below to watch the next episode.